All right, welcome back everyone to episode 2 of Fireside Chats with Papa Jabo. I am your host, and I'm here with my co-host.
DaddyDriz.
All right, and what are we going to be talking about this week, DaddyDriz?
Today we are talking about growing up. Growing up in an age of media.
Yes, and what an experience this has been. So,
Oh,
let's
yes.
get an overarching perspective first. Do you think it has been good or bad overall for you, or do you think it's a really big mix of both?
It's a big mix of both. I mean, like, okay, on one side, I've grown up with so much entertainment. I mean, it's wonderful. And I have like lots of fond memories of just like laughing at YouTube videos, staying up late, and just like surfing social media.
Mm-hmm.
But there definitely is some negatives.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of those negatives for you personally?
For me personally, I mean, like, I found especially that I'm sorry, Nathan's rustling is distracting me. I found especially that I've been affected in terms of like my workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Like years and years and years of positive reinforcement where I shouldn't have it has
Uh-huh.
just led to me, just getting distracted way too easily and just like I definitely don't feel like I have good focus skills.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I mean, there's a reason there's a lot of kids with prescribed with ADHD.
Yeah, that's you make a very
Did you
good
ever
point.
have to go through that?
What, ADHD?
Mm,
No, my parents I think sort of denied that there could ever be anything wrong with our us as
okay.
children. So like
Yeah.
we all got issues, but like they're not recognized by anyone.
Yeah. I think that's a thing a lot of kids these days will relate with
Mm-hmm.
is being like, "Oh, going to the doctors, you have ADHD, you have to get medicated."
Yeah.
I do question if a lot of that is just how we grow up with media and just having positive reinforcements everywhere and just having stimulus everywhere and just
Mm-hmm.
being like, "Oh, what direction do I look in? Let's just look at everything."
That's That's a really good point because I mean our cell phones are both a wonderful invention and also like so detrimental to just getting things done at all every day because like even right now
Yeah.
we're recording this podcast and I see my phone lighting up at like the far end of the table and I'm still sitting here going like well, I wonder who's texting me right now. I wonder what's going on. And like
Yeah.
that's bad. Like I should be able to focus just on what is going on right here instead of sitting on. Actually, I'm gonna flip it over so I don't look at it. Um, but like, yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely caused a huge focus issue. I mean, even like in high schools, I know that like when we were in school, it was so bad. Us like lifting up our Chromebook or whatever and trying to like look at our phone sneakily. That was the
yeah.
dumbest. Like that was so dumb. Like,
Or just looking at it, not even trying to sneak it, and
oh
just
yeah.
like not paying attention to what's going on in school. I especially notice when I'm doing an assignment,
Hmm.
I will be 100% in it. I'm making all this progress. Oh, voice crack. And then all of a sudden I see like a little flash from my phone. And then it's just all the progress, all the energy that I had in my assignment. It just disappears and it just goes straight to that phone. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what someone sent me.
It's so bad because like obviously we have our group chat where we send memes, which I'm so happy that people are sending more memes now because it makes me happy. But like that's where I also think it's a good thing because now we can have things like a group chat, which like go back 15 years ago, that's not a thing. You don't have that. You have to call people.
There's a huge benefit of social connection.
Yeah, and it's great because I can be connected with you, my friends from like Long Island, my friend Zan. I'm so happy that I get to like talk to him and that I've met him through video games and different media. It's
Hmm.
amazing. Um, but then it takes away, I think, from some of that the physical relationship when you're with someone. And like, I mean, you and I, when we hang out in person, we've had that where we're both on our phones and like
Hmm.
it's it's not always a bad thing, but I think for the most part it is because we're not really focused on what's in front of us and what we have to enjoy because we're so
Yeah,
focused on what everyone else is doing in their lives and like does that really matter at the moment?
yeah. Do you ever feel like you never have a moment of boredom and it kind of sucks?
Uh for me kind of. I think as soon as I get bored I pull out my phone, which I think is
Yeah.
really bad because there's so many other things I could be doing, but I go,
Hmm.
no, I think I'm just going to scroll through Instagram right now and I shouldn't do that. That's bad. So yeah, like
Hmm.
I 100% agree with that. It's like I don't actually have boredom because I just use my phone as like a little pacifier for it.
Yeah. I find like because there's no such thing as boredom these days,
Mhm.
because you can just get rid of it because you have the tool right in your hands to do so.
Mhm.
I find that a lot of kids struggle with being bored and that makes it like why would a kid ever want to read a book these days? Why would they ever want to do that? They can just pick up a phone and find entertainment immediately. There was a time when like you'd pick up a book because that was how you avoided being bored. It was like, I need this to entertain me, and then as a side effect, you get smarter and you increase your reading level and you, I don't know, get more involved with academics and thinking.
I think it's so hard because it's just easier. Like any type of media or device that allows you to access this online media is just so much easier. And a lot of parents have fallen victim to it. And like people are like,
Hmm.
"Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're 21." Yes, I do. I literally work and see people every day, parents just giving their kids iPads so they can watch videos and not be a distraction or anything. So kids are just now like at 4 years old are getting so used to just having this technology in front of them where they can just escape and not have to deal with everything around them. And it's bad. That's very bad because they're relying on it so hard. And like, can I understand being in the grocery store and not wanting your kid to freak out so you just give them the iPad? Yes, I do because for a parent that's incredibly embarrassing and it sucks because it shouldn't be embarrassing. Everyone knows what kids are like. But also like it's not healthy for your kid to just go, "Oh, you want something? Okay, here's your iPad. Just go watch a video and that's your distraction. I don't have to deal with you
Yeah,
now." Like that's not parenting. That's really
it's
bad.
and it's like a positive reinforcement for bad behavior.
It is. It is. Oh, you're going to
Yeah.
freak out? Okay, here's YouTube. Here's whatever you want to watch. And like, no, that is not what we should be teaching kids is that, oh, you act out. We're just going to give you something so you stop acting out. No,
Hmm.
no, there should be, and like, I'm not saying like negative punishment because again, they're kids. It happens. Everyone does it. But there should be some form of discipline with it of
Hmm.
like you and I, we grew up reading books and we still read books. We use our
Yeah.
phones too, which is sometimes too
It's
much, but that's okay.
it's a useful tool at
Exactly.
times.
It's a very useful tool. But like we still like to read and we still learn, which is
Hmm.
important because that's still part of our life. It's not just immediately we go to our phone constantly. We also go, you know, what could I could read a book right now. Let me go pick up meditations. Let me go pick up this or that.
Yeah.
And that. But that's definitely it feels like that is lost on a lot of people right now.
So, and now I want to take this back because we're looking at things from a third person perspective. We're looking at other people in a lot of these cases.
Hmm.
I want to talk more about like what were your do you remember your first experiences with the internet?
With the internet,
Yeah, like social media, internet, YouTube.
okay. So like I'm going to go like step by step. So when I was
Hmm.
younger, my first time ever going on a computer was my dad. Like I was like maybe 7, maybe even younger. My dad had this super old desktop in the basement that he used to do work on, and we used to like have these discs that had games on them, like for the computer, which I don't know if anyone has discs anymore for their computer to play games on.
I remember that age. I had
Yeah.
them discs too.
But they were like educational games. I forget what they
Yeah,
were called.
same
There was
here.
one with a fish, and that one we loved. But it was that's my first time ever like going on a computer, and then like
Yeah.
I realized there was the internet. Like after a couple years of playing just the games, like I would go on the and I was like, I can look anything up. Cool. And people are probably like, bro, you figured that out when you were
How-
like 9 years old? Yes, I did, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Oh, okay. See, Josh, things are starting to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have very similar experiences because I grew up the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The computer was mostly used for taking discs, taking games which were on discs, and putting it in the computer.
Yep.
And they were usually educational. There are a few that weren't. There was like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but even that you could say it's like
allowed.
economics a little bit.
how to be an entrepreneur.
Um, and then I didn't really use the internet because my internet was so freaking slow that I just didn't ever bother with it. And my parents basically like told me like, we're going to check everything you ever did or do. So I had no interest in using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember, like, I didn't know what like YouTube was, what any of that was. I remember, I think third grade when someone showed me YouTube for the first time, and I thought it was weird. I was like, "What?
Yeah,
what is this?" And it's like the classic memory where like someone led you into their computer room. Remember when people had those?
Oh my god, yeah.
And there's like the black swirly chair.
Yep,
and,
that's exactly it.
and they like show you this weird thing, and you're like, "What is this? What the
Yeah.
heck?"
That's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. He showed me a video. What's that talking unicorn, Charlie? Or
oh yeah,
something?
Charlie the Unicorn. Oh my
That was the-
god.
That was my first exposure to the internet, and I,
I
was
think
just
that's
like,
a lot of people our age's like first experience with
Yeah.
Charlie the Unicorn.
it's a weird entry.
It's a very strange entry, but the internet was even stranger back then than what it is now because it was finding itself.
And this was probably what, like 2006, 2000. No, when was YouTube?
2009, 2010, probably.
Okay, 2009, 2010. I remember third grade. How old would I be in third grade?
Third grade. We were born in 2001, so we'd be about what 7 or 8? Because kindergarten,
Yeah.
kindergarten year 5.
Okay.
First grade 6.
That
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, 8ish.
Yeah, I didn't even know YouTube existed, and
Yeah,
this kid just like showed me it. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
But even after that, I didn't use it. Like, I didn't go home and start using the internet. I was like you. I was very behind. I was like, and when I talk to people now and realize, oh, they were using Instagram as kids
I'm like, what?
in like
Yeah, it's weird.
late elementary and middle school.
That's
I didn't-
insane.
I didn't have any sort of like mobile device.
I had a flip
until-
phone. At like
I had an
fifth
iPad.
grade. Oh,
I had an iPad in middle school.
gotcha.
And that was my entry into like really getting into YouTube. I found some like Minecraft gamers.
Heck yeah.
I watched all their stuff. They also did. That's the thing. I went straight from like watching Minecraft gameplays to like watching GTA gameplays.
We had basically like we actually had like the exact same path because in middle school, like obviously I knew my friend Kurt. I've known him my whole life. I've known him since I was 5.
Yeah.
But in middle school, we were in the same classes again after elementary school. So he introduced me to Minecraft. And like I had never played, I'd never seen it, and I go, "This is so cool." And he came over one day. We downloaded Minecraft onto my dad's laptop, and
my
we
God.
played it. And he was the mouse, and I was like WASD. So I
Oh
would
my
move, and he would
gosh.
hit, and like it was so much fun. And I got from that point on, I got super into. And this was 7th grade. End of 6th grade into 7th grade, I got super into Minecraft YouTubers. I watched Bajan Canadian, Jerome ASF, Sky Does Minecraft. I watched all of them, like religiously. I had a problem,
Yeah.
but I was like, "This is so much fun. This is so cool. I want to be like these guys."
Wow. Yeah, I had a very similar experience. I watched oh, I feel like no one would know them. I watched this group called Achievement Hunters. I
Achievement
shouldn't have.
hunters?
Yeah,
I know achievement hunters.
very controversial these days, but
Yes, yes, maybe just a little. Um,
a few members. That's another thing that's rocked my world is like I had these, and I feel like this is almost a completely different topic, but like these influences in your life, these characters who are these YouTubers.
Mhm.
I remember the Achievement Hunter group. I watched them religiously,
uh-huh.
and then I don't know, a few years ago, one of their members basically was ousted for like having underage relationships with fans.
Yeah, that's
And
not
that's the
good.
type of that's like it's kind of weird. It like rocks your world. You're like, oh, this was someone I idolized as like a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't idolize that specific person, but like the group, like
Well,
I never imagined it be like that.
I think it's important to recognize that a lot of times you're like idolizing the character that someone plays rather than the person themselves, because like there's not too many people on YouTube or Twitch or whatever who are just themselves. A lot of people try to be something different. They try and play a character or anything like that, which
Oh yeah,
so I think it's definitely important to recognize like, oh, this is not the part of them that I looked up to. This isn't exactly it. But that's also another good point to bring up is that with media, especially like how big media is in all of our lives now, your life, like everyone knows what you are doing every second of the day. Like it's insane. People posting constantly what they're up to, location, all this different stuff. Like it's you can be so tapped into other people's lives, and I think people are really like taking that maybe a little too far and being so obsessed. Like I have one friend who is so obsessed with Jay Schlatt. Like things in their real life.
Yeah.
Do
will
not,
they like?
Oh,
will they like travel and go find him?
no. They want
screen. What is that called? Screen.
I don't know.
When you find them, you like find them based off of what's on their screen. Yeah.
Well, like I know what you mean, but like I'm like
screen sniping. That's
yes,
what it's called.
but I'm like you gotta like calm down because things in their real life do not take priority over Jay Schlatt going live on Twitch. And I'm like that's a problem. Like it's cool. I have the people who I could watch constantly, but I never am like, oh my god, they just went live. I need to get like drop everything and do that and like tune into their stream. No, so, and that's bad.
There definitely is like a cult side of like people who get really addicted to these influencers and like their whole life are these people, because their content definitely is designed in a way to hook you in where you just keep watching video after video. You get more and more obsessed.
Yeah.
I've never understood that personally, but I see it happening to a lot of people, a lot of strong communities.
Yeah, and like I could watch every single Markiplier video that comes out and I will never get sick of that man. But like I don't know.
I mean, are you going to pay for his
OnlyFans? Honestly, I'm considering it. That man, I don't know. He may be short, but I got a feeling he's packed.
I thought he said something like he's already done like a calendar, right?
Oh yeah, he did a nude calendar. It took him 4 months to sign all of them.
He basically said it's going to be the same type of content what he did in the calendar.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. I wish I bought the nude calendar.
Wait, is he actually going to just put it straight up on the internet? Everything?
I don't think he's going full nude. I don't believe.
He's a brave man, if so.
Markiplier.
I mean, he put up a video of swiping on Pokemon, so or smash or pass on Pokemon.
Okay, so his tasteful nudes only fan. You're probably wondering where's YouTube man's ass cocking. And there's my real name. Papa. Surprised.
This is sad. This is sad. We're at this point.
I'm intrigued though. I'm trying to find out.
We're talking about how like media and technology has affected us, and you're searching up
And man's only fans. Okay, but
this
okay,
man's.
you know what? That's unimportant. Let's go back to the original thing of like, how do you feel about the fact that literally like people can know like everything about you constantly because of social media?
This is an interesting topic. I don't like personally. I don't feel that people can know much about me because I don't buy into it. I don't post everything. I really don't post anything about my life, to be honest. This is
Right.
like my first step into just like whatever. Might as well just put it all out there. And but I do remember one effect that was really weird was like my first relationship because of tools of tracking each other and the ability to contact each other constantly, there was some unhealthy amount of like, oh, you have to text me like once every like 20 minutes type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had experience with that. That's annoying. That's don't end up in that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Um, but like the whole thing of random people knowing what I'm up to, I don't really think random people do, nor do I think they care.
I
Definitely on the side of like influencers, that I do feel bad for a lot of influencers who really are tracked down and like people getting swatted.
mhm.
I think I saw a story of like oh, what's her name? Is it Amaranth?
Yeah,
Like
Amaranth.
literally people buying houses across from her and stalking her from that house
Yeah, see, like that's
and
crazy.
like walking up to the door and like knocking.
Yeah, like
It
that's
like
insane.
just sounds like nightmare fuel. That sounds like the type of person who's gonna like break into your house and murder you.
Yep, and that's like it's insane because I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think anyone cares about what I'm up to constantly. I don't post that much either. Every once in a while, I put something on my story on Instagram, but like I don't even have Snapchat anymore because I hated it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, yet again, us showing similarities in a very bad relationship in the past, where like it was constantly needing to update someone or needing to talk to someone because they were like, I need to know where you're at. I need to know what you're doing. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm not the one who's cheating. I don't think this is the problem.
Ooh.
But like,
Yikes.
big yikes. But it's fine. We moved on from there. But like, that's and with people obviously bigger content creators and influencers, it is an issue because like if an address or something gets leaked, there are people who literally will go to their house and not leave them
Mhm.
alone until they talk to them, which I think is absolutely insane. Like that is not okay.
Yeah, there's a reason PewDiePie moved to Japan.
Yeah, it's understandable because I think they'll at least respect it. I'll be like, you do you.
Well, no, it's because they don't know him. So
That's what I'm
nobody's
saying.
gonna.
Even the people who do watch him over there, they're like, we don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I mean, you can't really get into that country right now as a Westerner.
Yeah, it's all right. Most countries don't like Westerners. It's because we suck. But that's besides the point. um, one other thing that I find really bad about media is how
Mhm.
easy it is to lie.
Ooh. Okay. That's an interesting perspective. Do
Like,
you have a personal experience with this?
not exactly personal. But like, I mean, fake news, all this stuff, this crazy stuff that everything that's come
Oh,
up in recent years, especially, it has been bad.
yeah.
And I love things like, I think it's called Canon Truth Mark,
Hmm.
which is something that Canon, like the camera company, and other things, they make other things too, but mostly
Yeah.
cameras. Um, they created this thing called Truth Mark, where any time a photographer takes a picture, they can write their own story of what the picture was and everything. So then you can look up images on Truth Mark and
Hmm.
find out what the real story behind the image is, so it's not being used for something
Uh,
wrong on a different website. And that's something I took in a class like 2 semesters ago. I thought it was incredibly cool though. I'm like, this is something that is good. It
that is
keeps
cool.
like, but it also requires people to go out of their way to look things up, and most people
Hmm.
don't do that.
No, of
Um,
course not. Why
but
would you do that? It's only one search away.
like I could say almost anything that I want and like convince people, and there's almost no negative repercussions at all, which is, I think, not a good thing because I could influence young minds, our youth, as they grow up to believe these things that may not be true and
Yeah,
convince them, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something non-controversial, but that's actually incredibly difficult to do. Um,
everything's
I
controversial,
know,
Josh.
but I could go like, fire's not that hot. Just stick your hand in it, and I could convince kids to do that. And you know what? There is almost no chance that there's going to
So,
be negative repercussions until someone actually hurts themselves.
so I've actually heard a really good example of this where you can search up online. You can search up two opposing arguments on the exact same thing,
Hmm.
and you can find like basically evidence to support either argument. So like someone came up with the example of if you search up uh, coffee is bad for your eyesight,
Hmm.
it
Oh
will come up
Jesus.
with a bunch of data that says, oh, coffee's bad for your eyesight. This is the study. This is this study. And then if you search up coffee is good for your eyesight, you will find an equal amount of data that just says like coffee's great for your eyesight. Here's the data behind it. Here's the statistics.
I
And
mean,
it's so weird because we're in this like data overload where
oh my
there's
God.
just that
Yeah.
there's like, oh, did you just search it
Yeah,
up?
I just searched it up, and this is ridiculous. The fact that there's stuff for both of it is insane.
Yeah. So there's like the thing about science is that there's often in any data studies you do, there is the opposite results can be found.
Hmm.
Um, and data just isn't conclusive. And if you just put all that data straight to the internet and just create an argument on one side or the other,
Hmm.
you can easily convince people that you have the data that is correct,
Yeah.
that you know exactly what you're talking about. It's a weird place where there's too much information to know what information is real, or even like both information could be real,
Hmm.
and you could use either sources of information to support anything that you argue.
Hmm. You really can, and I mean, it's somewhat ridiculous because some of those sources obviously aren't trustworthy, and that's something we learn
Mm,
in college is make sure that you have scholarly sources and stuff like that, which I'm thankful for because I know if I'm using something that would be considered scholarly and reputable, but also like no random person just doing something just because they want to or to make a point in an argument is going to take the time to go, I'm going to make sure that this source is scholarly. They're just going to go, oh, this supports me and this will win me my argument, so I'm going to
mm-hmm.
use it.
Of
Which
course, yeah.
is just insane that you can get almost anything. And half of it is just people, more than half of it is just people BSing things because
Mm-hmm.
there's no accountability on the internet, which is also kind of crazy. Um, but it's still a new thing. So, I mean,
and
not really
and
new, but
I mean, even more than a individual thing, it also is a little scary how it is a national thing,
hmm
where there are corporations, there are countries purposely sending out misinformation. That's also a thing.
yeah, and that's, I mean, again, really messed up because people should be able to access the truth and
Mm-hmm.
honest opinions and facts, but it's just harder and harder because we act like we have all this freedom on the internet. We can do whatever we want. It's this amazing thing, but like there's so much to it that we don't really think about when we're just scrolling through YouTube or anything like that
No.
and looking it up. But it's like, yeah,
Well,
it's really difficult to find just exactly what you want without other people's advertisements or influences getting in there.
well, I mean, just think about when is the last time you have ever gone to the second page of Google?
Oh my
Like,
god, never. I don't
when
I maybe
exactly?
actually like back in high school. Back in high
Yeah,
school would have been the last time I've done that.
no one goes to the second page of Google. That might as well not exist. Like,
No, and like I love that it says, okay, let me see if I can find this. Um where oh god, it's not showing me now. When it says like, oh, we have like this many results in this amount of time. And I'm like, bro, there's
mhm.
over 1 million results for this? Why? How?
And guess what? The majority of people are clicking on the first one.
Yep, because it's the easiest, it's the first thing they see. And half the
Hmm.
time that's an ad that someone paid to make sure that they're at the top, which is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. It's a complicated complicated society. So I do want to kind of bring this back to more of like the individual effect.
Hmm.
Do you feel that technology has been more of a benefit to your productivity or more of a detriment to it?
I can see for myself, yes and no. um,
Mm-hmm.
so like for me, I like typing things. I'm much faster at typing than I am writing.
Mm.
Partially because my handwriting is also chicken scratch, so I can't read it.
Yeah.
But I also am pretty good at finding information online and being able to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the fact that I can do things online. However, if I have another form of technology or anything with me, like if I have my phone on me when I'm working on my laptop or at my PC, no, it's a huge detriment. It's really
Yeah.
bad. I get so unmotivated and just non-focused. I cannot just sit and focus on one screen at a time. I have to be on my phone. I want to look at things instead of doing what's in front of me. So, honestly, it's probably more of a detriment than it is
Yeah.
good for me. I can, again, I love Google Docs. I love typing things. It's great. But yeah, my phone is a huge detriment to any time I try and do anything productive. What about you?
So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there are times, especially like you said, typing to me seems way faster than writing things out.
Hmm.
And there is definitely a benefit of like things like I can write a Google document and then say I've got to start walking around and I got to go somewhere.
Hmm.
If I'm like in a passenger seat or something, I don't got to like do anything. I can pull up my phone and start typing in a Google Doc. I can get work done on the go. That's pretty cool. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I could probably do that with a notebook or a journal.
Oh yeah.
Um, but one thing I always think about is how the original intent of technology is its tools to serve people,
Hmm.
but more and more, I'm noticing a trend of people are kind of starting to serve the tools. Like, you know, people are on a routine of posting on social media, a routine of checking their phone. The average person can't have their phone away from them without having like a complete mental breakdown.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a little ironic when you think about the idea. These are supposed to be tools that help us and serve us, but we're almost slaves to them in a way.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's really bad. And both of us know people who literally would have like panic attacks or anxiety attacks if we took their phone away from them and didn't give it back. We were like, no,
Mm-hmm.
right now we are all just talking and we are like focusing on each other. There, some people we know would 100% freak out and not be okay, which is really, really bad. If you can't,
It's a little addictive.
oh, it is
Is it?
incredible. I
I
think our
mean,
phones are a very bad drug.
they are.
In
They
terms
are.
of like the just ability for social media to take you away from everything is insane. But
Mm-hmm.
like it's so nice because it's how we stay. I mean, you and I text almost every day because it's how we keep in touch. It's how we keep talking, which is a good thing. But also those moments where we don't need to be texting constantly or looking at God knows what on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, it's also bad. So like, how do you take the good with the bad?
Mm. I I mean, anything that gives a sense of dopamine, I suppose, can be an addiction, I suppose.
Uh huh.
And our phones are definitely a huge source of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I constantly search. Bless you. Sorry, Nathan just sneezed.
You're good.
I constantly search for like the next thing, right?
Hmm.
When you're going through Instagram, and Instagram and TikTok are huge examples of this with their sort of reel system where you're constantly searching for the next best thing, searching for like the next little laugh, the next little,
Hmm.
spark of joy, dopamine, little,
Hmm.
and you could just sit there for hours and hours and hours. And there's been times where I've sat there for like 3 hours.
Hmm. Now,
and I could be doing way more productive things
oh,
during that time.
100%. There's definitely better things to do. And like I think better is the perfect term there because like there's nothing productive and there's nothing benefiting me from just scrolling and scrolling and like if I laugh every once in a while, that's great.
I mean, maybe socially, like if you're sending things to friends, there's a little bit of a
Yeah,
productive factor.
but also so another thing, oh, tell Nate I say bless you.
That was me this
That
time.
was you the time, bless you.
Thank you.
I just heard it from far away. I was like, "Ooh." But is there's also that negative aspect of scrolling and stuff like that, of
Mhm.
comparing yourself to people online. And I don't know if you do it. I know I have, and it's been really bad
Mm.
for me, because I mean, you know me, I am a tall, scrawny guy, very much so, and like I see these and I know it's a lot worse for women and people who
Oh
identify
yeah,
not
it's
as men.
really bad, but it
Yeah,
is bad for both.
it's
It
bad
is
for both.
bad for
I
both. It's bad for everyone.
yeah, I think it's less recognized for guys because they're like you're a guy, no one cares. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. But
Hmm.
like yeah, I do compare myself to dudes who are built and I'm like I will look at them and go, "Damn, that must be nice. That's cool. I want to look like that one day." And like
I've been there. I have definitely been there, especially in high school and middle school. I really, really looked at that stuff and
uh-huh.
was like, I must not be doing something right. I got to work harder. Got to eat more. Got to do all this. Which, to be fair, there's merit to that. Eating more, working hard can get you places. But there's a realization I made a few years ago, probably,
Mhm.
of noticing a huge amount of these people are on steroids.
That's
I mean,
that's the beautiful thing is I feel like the media has set these unrealistic standards because we can't see everything that goes into that picture. This like
yeah.
20 minutes that someone spent setting it up and all this stuff to make them look as good as possible. I'm like, yeah, when I look at that picture, it takes me 2 seconds to go, "Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. She's hot. He's hot." All this stuff
Mm.
and I'm like, that's I don't know. For me, it's been that part has been definitely detrimental.
and and especially on the side of like of 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 women's media,
Uh-huh.
you don't know the level of like anorexia of mental issues they're going through. You have no idea
Yeah,
what's
it can
going
be
on.
really bad.
Or on the guy's side, just like there's definitely like a lot of guys who also have a kind of toxic mind state of like, oh, I've got to go to the gym, gotta go to the gym,
Yep.
gotta keep going to the gym. And it's like some of these people are going there for like 4 hours a day.
Yeah, and like
How do you have time for that?
that's a
That's
very good
four
point
hours.
because I'm like I did fall into these unrealistic standards and everything. I'm like, damn, that's my problem is I don't look like that. And I'm out of that now. I understand that, but I started working out and going to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly just because I wanted to do something that one felt good and like it hurts, but obviously that's a good hurt because I know I'm doing something and I'm doing something because I want to and it's for me and I want to feel better in my own skin. But like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's so many people who only do it because like, well, this is what this person looks like. That's what I have to look like. No.
Yeah.
That's unhealthy and that's something I found like mass media and social media have done a very bad job of helping people with, especially really young and I don't know, kids you can just mold whatever way you want. And
Well,
it's a bad way to mold them.
to give you a good idea of like, to be fair, I was a dumbass, but like in middle school, my exemplar of like, oh, how buff should I get? How muscular do I want to be?
Mhm.
Was like superheroes.
Ah,
And I think there's a lot of kids these days who have the same idea. They're like, they see these superhero movies
mhm.
or games. Dude,
Oh yeah.
I played like Batman Arkham City and I was like, dude, I wish I could be that buff someday. No one can physically be that buff.
It's
Like,
like it
but
is not
as a kid,
normal.
you don't realize
No.
that.
No. Like one day I want
Yeah,
to look
so
like Bane. No. No, you don't want to look like Bane from Injustice because he is like 7,000 pounds the way he looks in the game.
I forgot what YouTuber was talking about this. I think it was Critical. I think he was saying how how guy who plays Thor,
Chris
Chris
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, yes. Chris Hemsworth has this whole gym program where he
Yeah.
advertises his fitness
Hmm.
and advertises that you can get this fit on this gym program.
Hmm.
But he was talking about how like th- I mean, maybe it's possible that he's not, but the chances are that he is on steroids of some sort. Whether that's just like minor ones that help your I don't know, like just minor ones that kind of help improve testosterone, or
Hmm.
if they're like major ones for muscle building.
Yeah.
He is most definitely on some sort of, either that or he's on like one of the greatest nutritional diets in the world that cost him a ridiculous amount of money. And he's sitting there advertising to the world, you can get as buff as me just by doing this program, just by paying me money.
Hmm.
It is a little sickening at a certain point. Like, I love the dude, I love that actor. And I mean, I'm sure he's an inspiration to a lot of people who want to get built,
Hmm.
but there is kind of a lie going on there.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people forget like Chris Hemsworth can do what he does, and I'm assuming he does have some insane nutritional program because I mean he's
Hmm.
rich.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a
and I'm sure
very
he
famous
works hard.
actor.
I'm sure he works
Yeah,
so hard for it, like all those guys do. Even if you're on steroids, you're still working your ass off. But
but like
there is you're kind of lying to people at the same time.
it would be nowhere near as easy for someone like me who does not have that
Hmm.
money, does not have anything like that to be able to get in that shape. Like
Hmm.
he has he can have all the food and everything he wants. A lot of the nutrition part, I mean, we both know how huge that is, but that's not advertised in media. It's not, this is how much I have to spend be to eat this way so I can look like this. And so many people just ignore that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're eating McDonald's, whatever, every day, that's not going to help at all. That is going to make it almost impossible to look like Chris
Oh
Hemsworth.
yeah.
But like
There's a lot of sodium in that stuff.
but that's the point. Is there's so much that's left out from people looking
Hmm.
like that you're like this is the hours and the dedication that have gone into looking like that. If you want that, you have to put in that time and effort, and for a lot of people that's unhealthy. That is, it becomes an obsession, and that's not okay because, well, obsessions are pretty bad. They usually turn out to never be good for us mentally, but like
Yeah.
especially when you're just so focused on looking like someone else or being someone else,
Hmm.
that is never something we should teach kids, that they should be happy as they are. And that's something that we don't see enough of on media. And I mean, we're starting to see more of, which is good. I know Disney's done a lot with their movies
Hmm.
recently. Not my favorite movies, but the messages they are portraying are good, and being comfortable in your own skin, being yourself, and being happy with you.
I'll be honest, Josh. I have not seen a Marvel movie since Endgame. I
That's
just,
actually,
I
have I even watched one since Endgame? I don't know if I have, man. I sort of fell off from Marvel movies.
yeah. There's so much to keep up to. Well, okay, but going back onto the topic of social media,
Uh huh.
I did want to talk. We're talking about we talked a brief bit about mental health.
Yeah,
How do you feel that it has affected your mental health
horribly,
personally? Yeah.
horribly. And like obviously, I've had some really low lows. I have also had some very high highs.
Mhm.
Um, but I can say overall, being so connected has been definitely negative on my mental health. Like
Do you think it's because you compare yourself too much?
100%. I mean,
Mhm.
you know my opinions of myself. I'm not very happy with who I am, and it's something I'm working on, and I'm definitely getting better with it. I'm
Mhm.
starting to fix a lot of the things that are the bigger issues at hand rather than what I used to think was wrong, which was always like comparing myself to all these people online, or this is what this should be like. So I can say definitely in the past, it was something that destroyed my mental health because I would look at all of this stuff online and be like, why can't I be like that? Why am I like this when I want to be like that? And I wouldn't do anything about it though. I just sit there and be like, God, I wish I was someone else. I wish I was like this or this. And like, that's bad. That's
Yeah.
clearly like not healthy for me. And I realize that now. But
And I'm sure
yeah.
there's a lot of people, young and old, who do the exact same thing. I mean, we talked about body health, but there's also things of comparing yourself socially, comparing yourself in terms of how many followers you have,
Hmm.
comparing yourself in terms of your presence online.
Yeah,
I
there's so much.
Yeah, I think a lot of it can be overwhelming. I mean, and depending on what communities you're in, a lot of times younger people don't even realize that, like, oh, maybe this stuff isn't real. You know, they need to find a community to tell them that first.
And I mean, that's one of the, even just between us and now this new generation, it is so weird because we've at least seen real and like we've seen things be completely faked and then things that are real.
Hmm.
I think this younger generation has it even harder than us because they're dealing with a lot more of the fake. So they
Yeah.
are going to struggle to see what is real online. And like given we were already struggling with it at times, I think that is going to be really hard to do because there's just so much.
Do you ever get those like AI generated deep fake ads on YouTube?
Oh god, yeah.
Dude, well, right now they're really bad. Like you can tell they're fake.
Oh yeah, they're horrible.
Um, but there is going to be a point where like AIs are just generating deep fakes that look real as can be.
Yep. And
That's kind of a scary idea.
that's a really scary idea. Um I'll talk about AI another time though cuz I know that's a conversation you and I could talk forever
Ooh,
about.
that is
Um
true.
but yeah, I mean there's
Um,
so much in media that I think, and again, we've been talking a lot about the bads and that's mostly from our own
oh,
experiences. But
there's
there's a lot of good.
definitely goods.
Again,
Yeah.
the fact that I can talk to you, because I mean, we live close to each other. It's not like it'd be that hard for us to literally just drive over, walk over, ride our bikes over, anything like that. But it's also like I can text you or call you or keep up to date with you or anyone in my life
Yeah.
whenever. And that is so nice to have because as I touched on briefly earlier, one of my best friends lives away from me and I get to
Hmm.
communicate with him constantly, which is really nice. And I met
Yeah.
him through a video game, and I'm so happy he's a part of my life. He's definitely been such a great friend to me. And
Yeah.
the fact that I can communicate to him thanks to media, like video games, Discord, Instagram, all of this, it's amazing. It's so nice that I have that ability.
Yeah. I've seen some crazy stuff of like, I had a friend in college who literally had a relationship for like 2 years. They ended up breaking up, but they were long distance. One lived in California, one lived in New York for like
You don't get
two 2 years.
you,
That's crazy
you
to
don't
me.
get much further away than that.
I just like I can't believe that type of stuff is possible these days.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy to me. That's something I'm like, wow. That
Or like I was talking to a teacher I know who knows a friend who basically is teaching in classes in China, but they live in the United States, and they
that's
also
crazy.
their native country is like Taiwan, I think.
Oh my.
Yeah, so like it's kind of crazy how much it can be used as a positive tool. And I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier of the original purpose of the internet of technology is to be a tool for humans to use for their benefit.
Yeah.
And it still is that. That's why we use it. That's
Hmm.
why we continue to use it. The difference today is that now you have to self-assess and question in certain moments, am I being a tool for this system, for this social media app, for this, for this hierarchy of technology, or am I using this as a tool to better myself and improve my position, improve my abilities, improve what I'm capable of doing.
Yes, you definitely have to make sure you don't succumb to all that is social media and you don't fall down that rabbit hole of just staring mindlessly and scrolling endlessly. Like that's so unhealthy. But
Mhm.
there is also that great aspect of use it to keep in touch with the people you care about. Use it
Yeah.
to really, I don't know. I mean, we're using it to do something we love. I mean, we're making a podcast.
Yeah.
That's a good use of it because we're like, yeah, we want to be able to talk and share our thoughts and opinions on things with people. And now we can do that thanks to media and people can listen
Mhm.
to us thanks to that. And like again, you
No
just
one
have
ever
to
wanted this, Josh. No one ever wanted this.
oh, they didn't ask for it, but they're sure getting it.
They're getting it, boy.
And like I think that is so that's the part that people really need to focus on is there is a lot of good and again, we can point out all the bad. You need to avoid it. It's hard to avoid, especially when
Mhm.
it's being shoved down your throat constantly by all these different corporations and companies, but
Yeah.
there's stuff you can do yourself, especially
Well,
in your life. Take that responsibility on yourself and say, "Okay, this is what I can do for myself." To say, "Okay, I'm going to set the time limit on YouTube for the day to 1 hour, so I can only watch an
mhm.
hour of YouTube today, and then I have to focus."
So I didn't even get to discuss that at all. This episode is that I started about a week ago doing that. I've been trying to see if I can only have 2 hours of screen time a day.
Hmm.
Because my average, Josh, my average was literally 6 hours a day.
That
I
is that's a quarter of your day, my man. That's a lot.
I know, and I don't know how much of that is me doing homework and like YouTube on the background,
Uh huh.
but it's still unhealthy. Like the fact I need this much stimulus,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of people younger than me that need even more stimulus than that
Hmm.
and are constantly searching for it. But it is really important to set timers for yourself.
Yeah, setting that limit is really good because then you can focus on something different and put yourself to work doing something worthwhile. 'Cause don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, I could sit and watch YouTube all. If you looked at actually, if you looked at like my hours on just Spotify, that'd be ridiculous because I listen to music. I
Yeah,
need to listen to music constantly, and I know that's probably not healthy.
yeah.
But like it's how I get through my. I mean, I listen to music at work, 8 hours a day, right there, all on Spotify, because otherwise I get bored out of my mind. I can't do it.
And I think a lot of people our age and younger do exactly that. I know I'm weird. I don't listen to music when I work.
You
And
are weird.
I know a lot of kids who judge me for it. A lot of friends at work are like, "You're not listening to music right now?" And I was like, "No."
No, I'm not.
I'm like, why?
Yeah, that's
I my thing is music is like for me, it's like one of those things I want to be like special. So like if I'm just doing it constantly, I feel like I'm gonna get bored of my music eventually.
that's why I listen to so many genres, man. If I get bored of one, I just switch to another.
That's true. That is an idea. I should probably try that.
Yeah,
But
it works, kind of.
but going on the positive, I have kind of a weird positive,
Ooh.
which is that like so in middle school, I would say I was not very social as a kid,
Uh huh.
and I didn't really understand how to be like funny or like how to be like an entertaining person.
Hmm.
And I would actually say that in middle school, especially and in high school, social media did help me become more social because I'd watch YouTubers and I'd watch comedians, I'd watch all this, entertaining content, and I'd learn from it
Hmm.
ways in which I could be more entertaining.
I
And
think
I probably wasn't as entertaining as I thought I was, but it definitely got me started and got me more confident into actually talking to people and
I th-
actually having fun.
I think that's actually a really good way for it to have affected someone because I mean, some people it goes the
Some
exact
people shut
opposite.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you can take something from someone online and go, "You know what? I'm going to use this and I'm going to use it in my real life so I can speak to
Hmm.
more people, so I can make more friends, so I can not whatever you want to do." That's good. That's a good thing to be able to do for media. to be
it's a
able to
really
watch something and go, yeah, I want to be a little bit more like this, so I'm going to start to implement that into my life. That's good as
yeah
long as it's not like in an unhealthy way, like we talked about earlier with like the unrealistic beauty
yeah
standards.
yeah. It definitely helped me in middle school because I'm the type of person who learns from example.
Hmm.
I can't just come up with things on the fly. I'm not like an entertaining person naturally. I'm just I learn from other people and I learn from experiences, and that helped me in middle school. It helped me a lot.
If you okay, if you didn't take that and learn from that, do you think you would have ever spoken to me in 8th grade?
Probably not.
Wow.
I well, I think I would have. Well, I think we would have crossed paths no matter what because we did the same after school activities.
Yeah.
We did a lot of similar things. Well, I mean, you were in AP and I was in Regents, so I guess that would have separated us. But it definitely helped me have more confidence, I would say,
And that's
by
good.
the time I was in 8th grade.
That's really good.
Um, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I wouldn't. I do theorize that I would have been a lot more awkward to this day and I wouldn't be as social, which is kind of an odd thing because a lot of people think the opposite. A lot of people
Yeah.
think, oh, you just sit there. But I think the difference is like there's a lot of classrooms these days where students do just sit there and not talk to each other and they just want to get on their phones and they don't they don't care about what's going on in school. They're just ready to tap out, go home,
Hmm.
and sit on social media all day. But in a situation where you're watching everybody socialize, where you've got nothing better to do, you will be encouraged to want to socialize. And if you don't have experience with that, sometimes it could be really intimidating.
Yeah, it can be.
I know from personal experience as I'm student teaching. I watch children in classrooms.
Hmm.
Well, that was the
Yeah, I
creepiest
say
way I could have said that.
let's reword that one real quick.
I teach students, kind of, a little bit, every now and then.
Hmm.
And I do notice in classrooms where kids don't have their phones, kids talk to each other more. Whereas kids, in classrooms where kids do have phones, they just shut down and they sit there and they ignore the class and they're miserable the whole time.
That's not good.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it used in ways where people are too social with phones,
Oh
where
yeah.
like kids are sitting there FaceTiming their friends in other classrooms,
Like
and I'm like,
you shouldn't be doing that in school.
you know, you're in this classroom, not in their classroom, right?
Yeah,
You could pay attention here.
that
Could actually learn something, maybe.
something that might actually, I don't know, influence you in your future. Unlikely, but it's possible.
But that is it's an interesting perspective there that like I think one side of people, and maybe this is an extrovert introvert thing, one side of people are going to use social media as a tool to be more social, and another side is going to use it as a way to isolate themselves more.
Hmm. Do you think that introverts, like people, obviously introverts in a actual physical social setting, can use it and sometimes are more social because they feel safer online?
Yeah, probably. I think that's definitely true. I think a lot of introverts think that it's more safe to be online.
Yeah, I mean that that's I mean
Which,
I'm gonna go to
which,
gamers for a second.
yeah,
Some of them feel a lot of false confidence online in the
yeah.
things that they say in games to anyone, and
Oh,
they'll say some of the worst things you will ever hear, ever,
yeah,
because there's no one who can come
yeah,
up to them, up to their face, and go, "If you say that one more time, I'm gonna knock your block off."
yeah.
But
That's
like
true.
that's another detriment to media is there's no real accountability, so people get that false confidence and build an ego and go, I can do what I want. Who's going to stop me?
Hmm.
Well, no one until someone who lives around you or near you hears it and sees it. But, like, that's unlikely to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really can have, and I think this also goes, I think we completely forgot to talk about the idea that like, or I think we did touch on it a little bit on how like you can fall into your own little tiny communities
Mm-hmm.
and your reality can be completely different from what someone else's reality is.
Oh yeah.
There's like little pockets all over the internet of just like you're in this community, you're in that community. You know you watch, maybe you watch PewDiePie, maybe you watch Mr. Beast. I mean, you could. I guarantee you, there's a lot of people who think like, oh, it's a normal thing to watch Mr. Beast, and then they go out and ask someone about it, and they're like, Mr. Beast? Why would you watch Mr. Beast, bro?
Yeah. There.
Or like
That's a perfect
with
one.
any YouTuber
Yeah,
though.
like literally anything. I mean, I'm trying to think. What the heck is that show? Grey's Anatomy. Like all the
Hmm.
girls like in my like our friend group, like or
Hmm.
like in different areas of school and classes, I would hear them talk about Grey's Anatomy all the time.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Grey's Anatomy is. I'm assuming it is some form of medical drama show thing. That's as far as I can get. I got no idea. But if I go, yo, did you guys watch that new Beijing Canadian video? They're going to look at me like I have four heads because none of them are going to be watching Beijing Canadian. And like, yeah, we're in very different worlds in that aspect of what we watch and what media is exciting to us.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, I think we definitely need to learn to take a lot more of the good aspects of media um, and focus on those a lot more in our lives. After this discussion, I'm definitely realizing, wow, I have a lot of bad habits with media as well.
Yeah.
But I
I think
think,
everyone does.
yeah, and I think that that's the point of this is recognize where some of those bad habits are coming from, and then look at the good things media does for you, and try and use it more for those good things. Because
Yeah.
again, don't let it take over your life. Let it just be a part of your life that you use to better your everyday life.
Yeah. It can be a tool to help you or it can be a tool to subvert you.
Yeah, and we don't want that. So,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
any
I think
closing
that's a good
remarks?
place to spot to
Just,
stop
just
to spy you, buddy.
any closing remarks for you?
Be more mindful. Just keep a timer, check your hours, and just find ways to use the tools of technology around you to your benefit.
I like that. Uh, take care of yourself, everyone. Make sure you're doing the right thing and helping yourself because no one matters more than you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again for tuning into our fireside chat. Bye bye.
Thank you. Love you guys.